Hello, in this video I'm going to recap the Salesforce news of July 2022. This video will help you stay in the know and also help you be able to share with other people that you are in the know. And I mean by that by in your conversations that you have with other people, and probably most importantly in blogging. If you've watched my channel at all, you know I'm a big fan of using Ghost for blogging. It's what I use personally, and it's a great way of being able to build your brand and your expertise and contributing all sorts of positive things that could come from it. In terms of if you're looking for a job, the three things you probably should be doing is networking, looking for a mentor, and also building your brand and reputation through blogging. And, of course, applying for jobs and all that good stuff too. But networking is not something that is always within your control. Finding a mentor is also not always within your control. Blogging is something that you can do to show your own unique perspective on what is happening and what Salesforce can do. And I really think that this is a powerful tool that you can use to build some of those other areas and to make your networking and your finding a mentor and your job searching ultimately more successful. I've included all of the links to these different articles in the description below, so you could just jump ahead to that. I will try to give a little bit of context to make this a little bit more interesting and helpful for you as you're looking at it. Okay, the first thing that happened was actually on June 29th when this came out, and I just didn't get a chance to report it on in June. Salesforce expands MuleSoft to every team with easy automation and integration across any system or workflow. This is really exciting. There's this new MuleSoft composer. I recommend taking a look at this demo and watching it and seeing what it should be able to do. This is a really big improvement. I would say MuleSoft, how do I say this nicely? MuleSoft required a lot of configuration from developers, and was really like a big enterprise tool that could connect really complicated systems. And that's really important, and that's what made MuleSoft so essential, and probably also such a great acquisition for Salesforce because it solves those big company problems. But there's also a whole range of other sorts of integrations that would be just fantastic to do in a very simple way. Like somebody posts to a Slack channel and you want to parse that data and send it into a Google spreadsheet, for example. Easy stuff like that should be able to be happening. So that way, if you want to take data from one place and put it into another, making that happen in an easy way is really powerful, and MuleSoft Composer promises to be able to deliver on that. So very exciting, and opens up the opportunity for all sorts of automations. Okay, this is not news like technology news per se, but I think is really beautiful. Home Free documentary shines a light on re-entry barriers for the formerly incarcerated. This was put out on the Slack blog, and it's just a really incredibly powerful video about this, really trying to find ways for people who were incarcerated to make their way back into the workforce. And I'm really sharing this just so you're aware of it, and maybe this is something that speaks to you and that you'd like to get involved with and help support in your own way. And don't underestimate what you could accomplish here, because it's important. Co-CEO Bret Taylor has been on a tour talking about how automation is critical even during a downturn. This is a great opportunity to write a blog post about automating something, just saying. But if you listen to Bret, it does give a nice perspective on how important automation is, specifically during a downturn. This is a great article. All sorts of really interesting information within here. Gives you a great perspective on what's happening and how technology views itself as a solution to some of these big problems that the economy is currently going through. This was an interesting use case that just was published from farm to database, how MuleSoft is helping make Bayer crop science faster and greener. Really interesting. If you read through here, you could find some more examples of automation that's happening. And if you are so inclined, think about how you might be able to solve some of these problems, even with the skills that you have today. This just came out in the beginning of July, but it's running from July to September 30th. There is a certification celebration. Earn your first certification giveaway. Basically, if you get your first certification, you can then get a second certification. Rules and conditions apply, as is clear from this FAQ, but check that out. University of Baltimore is redefining the student advisor experience with Salesforce. And this is just a really good example of the sort of technology that Salesforce can solve for, where, like, if you were to picture how this happened beforehand, it was probably in phone calls and emails. And that's like a terrible way to get around. It's impossible to track what's actually happening. And so this is a great illustration of how Salesforce technology could be used to help people become more productive and give insight in what's happening. So there's a company called Contentsquare, and they're using data to optimize the customer experience. And this is just a really interesting story. And it also gives an interesting conversation between Sarah Franklin and the founder of this company, Jonathan Cherki, and how they talking through business and the sort of business problems and how innovation happened for him. Again, if you're new to business and technology, this is just sort of an interesting story to help build out your perspective on how innovation happens. And besides, it's a conversation that's happening in Paris on a boat. I mean, like, look at that. Come on. That's pretty cool. Anyhow, links in the description below. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great month.